All right. What time is it?
It's Jeep time.
Say it again.
Jeep time.
Okay. All right. So what we got going on is we got this guy back in the garage again. And it's not broke. We just like working on it.
Last time I had the springs out, I wrinkled the hood.
Yee. Okay, so we're putting 4.5-inch springs in. We're going to drop this thing down. We're going to slam it. Not really. I guess 4.5 inches isn't real low, but we're going to put Harley on a timer because we're going to see what he can do. See how fast he can. Yeah, you. We're going to see how fast he can do this. He's actually pretty quick with it. So maybe a little bit of editing, but no, you'll see. It's pretty quick. We doing the front first? Turn it off. So I figured we'd do a little bit of cleaning. You guys are wondering, that's the fan in the background. Yeah, once again the humidity's pretty horrible. We already stated that we were going from 5.5 to 4.5. I just figured I'd show you guys the height difference. But what you guys can't see is the thickness of the coil. These are quite a bit thicker. Now, what my hopes are, didn't we notice that these 4.5s are pretty close to the 3-inch?
Yeah.
The 3-inch rode significantly better. So the hopes is that we will get some of that ride quality back with 4.5. So there's quite a few different reasons as to why we're going with the 4.5. And I may drop down to a 4-inch in the back. We'll see. And then go ahead and lift up on yours. The 5.5-inch springs, they go in tight, and I don't know how you get them in and out with a short arm. Now maybe they arch enough, since the short arms arch quite a bit more, but come on over here. Alright, there you guys go. Let's see what time we got. We got 41 minutes. Now what I want to tell you is there's about 3 or 4 of those minutes that actually shouldn't be on there. Let me turn this down. Yeah. So Harley's putting the last wheel on here. And so we got to do the track bar and the steering. I mean, they're bolted up. We just got to adjust them. So you can actually do it pretty quick. Now we're a little rusty on this. If this would have been last year, or I'm sweating a little bit. I think we could have shaved at least 10 minutes last year, if not 15 minutes. So if there ever does get to be a NASCAR pit crew for Jeep TJs, I think we could try out for it. So, all right. Let's clean the bump stuff off. It doesn't need it to operate. It's just make it a little bit prettier. Make it a little bit more nice detailed looking down here. Camera's having a little bit of trouble focusing on this down here. So while he's doing that, I'm checking everything out.
Alright, so I wanted to show this to you guys. This is our rear sway bar links on the frame side. And you can see that rubber's hanging off to the one side. It's not supposed to be that way. So let me show it to you how I'm fixing this.
Where it could be. You got to hold it over the edge of the plywood. Okay. No.
So that's how you do that. Here we go, first test drive.
Oh, well, feels different.
She said it feels different.
I already noticed it did.
Let's make sure none of the tires are wobbling or anything.
Better springs and better steering, better turning.
Can you do a full 360? Yeah, so it feels completely different with the 4.5s, and with that, getting rid of the drop pitman arm feels completely different.
Wow, I don't know which one it is. This thing's driving great right now. What a difference in the ride.
Yeah.
I was not. We were never happy with the ride quality. It was just like
it was like hitting rocks. And you know, we just did a turnaround in the parking lot and hit like a speed bump. It totally absorbed it. I didn't feel very much of it. So
cool. Okay, so let me give you an update here. Harley, what do you think?
it's much better.
Oh man, that is an understatement. So the springs going from the 5.5 to 4.5, the ride quality is a huge difference between them. The pitman arm, we went from that drop pitman arm to the 3.5 inch, or not the stock pitman arm. The steering is much more responsive. It's yeah, and either way, everything that we've done here, the last three things, has made a huge improvement as to how this thing drives. It's fun to drive now. It's I didn't want to bring it back in. The only reason why we raced back in here is to get loaded up to head to Yori. So that's what we're doing right now. Got the compressor in there. Got either way, we got to go. Typically don't like playing in the mud. It's been raining for about a day and a half, but we got to do it. So, all right.
Guys, check this out. Look at the front here. Straight up impressive. Let's look at the driver's side tire. See how slam this thing is.
Getting better.
All right. That I don't think that can go any further up, huh?
All right, so I just watched the video, and before we uploaded it, and I just realized, I was like, we've not fully explained why we went from 5.5 to 4.5, and I mean, his Jeep is influencing Vader some, but I'm gonna let Harley explain because he's the main reason why this Jeep got lowered. He actually influenced me, so.
So,
hit it.
first thing was ride quality. It rode way too stiff, which is expected.
That was me.
Well,
I complained about the ride a bit.
well, no, it was too stiff, which is to be expected because they increased the metal thickness for being able to hold that weight higher.
When we switched from went from 3-inch up to the 5.5-inch, we actually switched shocks at the same time, and I was convinced it was the Fox reservoir shocks that we
Which
put on.
it still is. I mean,
Just a
if
little
you
bit better.
take we have the rusty shocks on my Jeep. If you take the Fox, you can't smash them down. The rusties, you can just about collapse them if you push hard enough.
They have a higher nitrogen charge pressure.
Yeah.
So, but either way.
And
so,
the other thing was the ride height. We didn't like it off road. It was way too high. As I call it, it was like riding a skyscraper on Daniel. So now that it's at 4.5, even though it's a little bit of amount, it seems much lower and it seems more off-road capable. And we were just talking, you know, somebody out there eventually at some point had advocated for higher Jeeps, higher trucks. You know, if it ever becomes a thing, you guys can always refer back to me for advocating the first one for lower Jeeps and off-road.
So, you know, I guess we've had the experience now that we've ran in the same Jeep. It's been stock. Okay, so let me play this. This Jeep has been stock, then it went to 3-inch, then it went to technically like 3.5-inch.
Mm-hmm.
Then we took it to 5.5, and it's brought it down to 4.5. So I know we're getting into the weeds, but most people don't mess with their springs that much. Most people don't have the opportunity if they're wrenching on it unless themselves or they're willing to spend the money to experiment. Oh yeah, I'm not. There is no way Vader's going back to 5.5 inches.
No.
And
If anything, it would go down to 4 inches.
yeah, I think, you know,
But I like
I'm
the
right
4.5.
there. So you saw us flexing it out right there. With the current setup and me keeping the stock flares, I'm kind of limited on going lower. That's pretty much right there. But
Which they'll see in the end of the video. We will flex out the Jeep.
no, at this point, it's already at the end of the video.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So you guys already saw it.
I think that's a pretty good explanation. No sense in talking about it much longer, but the way that it handles, behaves, is significantly different between the 4.5 to 5.5.
Yeah.
And it's just, there is no way I'd go back to 5.5 inch.
I think the 5.5 is probably better suited if you had 37s with stock flares, which I don't even know if that's possible, if it'll hit or not.
So the angles, it's not the departure and angles and all that, but the angles going up a hill and down, the Jeep feels so much more secure. You know, and this is with long arms. I can only imagine it would be doubled or tripled with short arms. Either way, just from our experience, and you know, Vader will not be going any taller, and his Jeep is going to be lower than mine. So I know that's not the cool thing to do.
They'll come around. The
Um,
peoples will come around eventually.
Yeah, you know, the thing is, the looks, yeah, it is impressive having the Jeep jacked way up there. But actually, and I don't want to offend anybody that has the 5.5 inch.
Well,
but
you can
if
have
you're-
too low of a Jeep.
If
too.
you spend a lot of time on trails, I mean a lot of time on trails, you'll eventually give up and you will go back and drop down. Yeah, you're going to scrape the center, but if it's a point of scraping as opposed to putting the Jeep on its side, I'll scrape on the bottom all day long. So, all right, that's it.